Before the Odyssey began, we were treated to a brief look at Dune Part 3, and I don't want to spoil anything, but the sheer scale of the scene they showed us, the sound, the imagery, the overwhelming oppressive nature of that conflict was the perfect appetizer for what came next, because somehow Christopher Nolan followed Denis Villeneuve's sneak peek with an even grander epic, and I loved it. I saw the Odyssey in 70mm IMAX the way it was intended to be seen, and this is one of those rare occasions where that phrasing doesn't feel like marketing. Nolan didn't shoot this movie so you could occasionally glance at it between text messages. This is a tale designed to swallow you whole. The landscapes tower over you, the ocean seems endless, and every new destination feels as though Odysseus has wandered into an entirely different world. It is grand in scope in a way that few modern blockbusters are even willing to attempt. This isn't merely a large movie, it is a true epic. And despite all that scale, I thought the pacing was perfect. That's probably going to sound insane to anyone who believes a movie becomes slow the moment two characters speak without something exploding behind them, but the Odyssey never dragged for me. Nolan understands that an epic journey needs room to actually feel like a journey. You need the stretches of exhaustion, uncertainty, and longing. You need time to understand what Odysseus has just survived, what he has lost, and why returning home still matters after everything he has endured. And yes, there is action, but action is not the focus. That distinction is important because the restraint is precisely what makes the action so effective when it does finally arrive. Nolan doesn't bombard you with spectacle until spectacle has already snuck up on you. He allows tension to build, lets you become comfortable in the quiet, and then absolutely assaults your senses. Thematically, it's the consequence of that violence that makes those moments of action mean something. And that's what blows me away, man. The Odyssey is a story that's been told many times in many different ways, but it feels like there was a reason that after Oppenheimer, Nolan decided to make this particular movie, a testament to the human condition, but also a criticism of it, that we are what we fear the most, but we can break that prophecy if we have the strength and will to do so. And underneath it all is that score. The music is outstanding. It pounds throughout the theater like the gods themselves are announcing that something terrible is about to happen. I say this with love. I couldn't tell when the Cyclops was roaring or if that was the fucking music. I just enjoyed being awash in this haunting kaleidoscope of a soundscape. When combined with the scale of true IMAX, the score doesn't merely accompany the action, it physically presses against you. You feel it in your chest. This means, yes, you have to see this in IMAX, or at the very least, Dolby. But try to see it in IMAX. The performances are excellent across the board, but Matt Damon is in another universe, giving an Oscar-worthy performance. Normally, I don't give a shit about the Oscars, but it looks like Timothée Chalamet is about to take yet another L. Damon's Odysseus is intelligent, capable, and commanding, but Matt never allows these qualities to turn him into an invulnerable action figure. He takes hits, he falters as a leader and as a man. This is a guy being slowly hollowed out by the distance between himself and home. Every victory costs something, and Damon carries those accumulated losses into every scene. Anne Hathaway is equally effective because she gives the story its emotional destination. Penelope could have easily become little more than a wife waiting at the end of the plot, but Hathaway makes that waiting feel like its own kind of Odyssey. It's interesting that Nolan decided on the Odyssey because I've always felt like the character of Mal in Inception was somewhat inspired by Penelope, and also the Sirens, and while very different, gave Dom Cobb a similar motivation to Odysseus to seek the end of his journey. Anne's Penelope gives Ithaca a soul and makes us understand why a man would defy gods, monsters, and the sea itself just to see her again. And yes, she's a little bratty, but you would be too with a bunch of smelly men outside your bedroom every night seeking not your heart, but your power. Tom Holland also surprised me. I'm obviously a Spider-Man fanboy, so I've spent years watching him flip around in spandex, and I will again in a couple weeks, but he brings a maturity to Telemachus that I don't think we've seen from him before. He is still recognizably the younger, less certain presence in the story, but there is a frustration and growing resolve beneath that youth. He feels like a son attempting to become a man while living in the fading shadow of a father who is a legend. John Bernthal was another standout. Bernthal has always been excellent at portraying men who seem only one bad sentence away from becoming extremely violent, and Nolan understands exactly how to extract that energy. He brings an immediate anger and jadedness to the film, not so subtly hinting at his failing marriage to the beautiful and damaged Helen. John Leguizamo, meanwhile, gives what may be his best performance in years. There is no winking at the audience, no exaggerated comic relief, and no sense that he has wandered in from a different movie. He is completely committed and a reminder of just how good he can be when given material that trusts him. And then there is Elliot Page as Sinan. It is a relatively brief role, but a beautifully tragic one. Sinan becomes a catalyst for certain events, and Page gives the character a humanity that could have easily been lost beneath the machinery of the plot or even the nonsense on the internet about his casting. There was something haunting about that performance, a person caught between naivety, loyalty, and manipulation, with a payoff that sent my auditorium into a raucous applause. I also appreciate that Nolan never treats the mythology as something that needs to be apologized for. There is no lampshading, no character nervously explaining that the Cyclops is actually some kind of magically modified human, and no attempt to sand down the strangeness of Homer's world to make it more palatable to people who refuse to engage with fantasy. Zeus is real. Poseidon is real. It is myth in all its glory, the reason we love telling these stories that ultimately gave birth to the spandex-wearing superhero. Now, I don't think this is going to be for everyone. It is a mythological tale set in the distant past. It takes its characters seriously and is more interested in the burden of a journey than in constantly finding new things for Matt Damon to stab. This is a drama, and character work is paramount here. If you're looking for nonstop action, you might as well refund that ticket, bro. Some people are going to admire the filmmaking without ever emotionally connecting to it. Others will inevitably complain that it isn't The Dark Knight, Inception, or whatever version of Nolan they personally wanted to see. But for those of us who love this kind of story, heroes and monsters, gods and men, impossible voyages, and the desperate desire to return home, well, the Odyssey feels like home. This is the sort of filmmaking that reminds me why I love movies. Not content, not intellectual property conveyor belt slop. Something enormous, sincere, and constructed with the belief that audiences are still capable of wonder. As I said, I'm a Spider-Man fanboy, but Brave New Day is going to have a very difficult time beating The Odyssey for me. There have been a lot of movies released in 2026. The Odyssey is the first film.